Because of the recurrent feeling of the ethereal Vasistha that arises in the minds of all of you, and also in me, I appear to be seated here. Well, this is exactly what's happened, isn't it? We are being told the story of Rama and Vasistha. Rama's questions and Vasistha's answers were in the court of King Dasaratha, with the retinue of noble people, sages and celestials. This is what's in our mind, this is what's in our head, this is the story, and we're engaging with this story. We imagine the situation, we relate to it. In truth, however, all this is pure void, and all these are only notions that arise in the mind of the Creator. And the Creator being what is going on right here. Notions, like I and you, have become firmly established in your consciousness because you have not cared to investigate them. We've been uprooting some very deep notions which we don't even think of as notions. These notions are discriminations that we make and which we construct our reality around. We have notions of real and imaginary, of illusion and truth, of existence and non-existence. These are the basis of the questions which Rama keeps poking with. What notion are you adhering to right now? What notion are you using to filter the stream of creation into your current existence? You have a notion of me here and you there watching me. You might not think of that as a notion, but it's one which you'll be bringing into play at a very fundamental level. I'm not here, I'm right there, but you're projecting me out here. My reality is not separate from you. What's the nature of my reality? You're constructing my reality based on sound and images emanating from your computer. What's the reality of your computer? Is your computer distant from you? Your computer is here. The reality of your computer is constructed right at the center of your being. And you relate to it according to notions that you've created about it as something out there. Inquire into the notions by which you're constructing your reality, because these notions have become firmly established in your consciousness because you've not cared to investigate them. I've always been fascinated by the way people just get on with things. For some reason I've not been able to do that since I was very young. I've always expected somebody to tell me what's really going on, and my education was a series of disappointments. First with my parents, and then my Sunday school teachers, then my school teachers, my secondary school teachers, my university teachers. Nobody seemed to know. It didn't even seem to be the right thing to do, to ask these questions, not even from philosophy lecturers. People just get on with it, don't they? What can you do? Just get on with it. But it's worth persisting. It's worth persisting, asking questions and pursuing inquiry. You pursue it to the end. You pursue rational inquiry to the end. If they are investigated, that's the notions which you adhere to, and their true nature is understood, they vanish very soon. I suppose if a notion is not actively fed, then it disappears. Notions of utopia, for example, were very popular in the 20th century. political or spiritual utopias. People don't seem to think about utopias very much now. So the notion of utopia is not being fed so much. So notions, if they're not fed, they vanish. And they're not fed when their true nature as notions is understood. When the truth is realized, all these scenes of so-called creations vanish, even as a mirage ceases to be seen as water when its true nature is understood. And it's very important how this is phrased, as I mentioned previously. The mirage ceases to be seen as water, but it doesn't mean that the mirage stops being seen. It's just no longer of any importance. In fact, by a mere study of this Maharamayana, which is the Yoga Vasistha, the reality is realized. It's not simply a mere study though. You need to immerse yourself in this, not just in the reading, but in the practical application, which takes the form of inquiry into your reality. There is no difficulty in it whatsoever. There just needs to be the will. But he who is not interested in liberation is a worm, not human. Sounds like a harsh judgment, but I think the idea is you're being exhorted to make full use of your potential, of your human heritage. One should carefully investigate the bliss of liberation and the sorrow inevitable to ignorance. By the study of the Maharamayana, one attains to supreme peace. Liberation confers inner coolness, peace on the mind. Bondage promotes psychological distress, a psychological scorching fire. Even after realizing this, one does not strive for liberation. Even once you've had some realization of the truth, a glimmer of the truth, you still might be caught up in some very limiting behavior. And this just has to be accepted, really. You just have to deal with this in whatever way you can. I've mentioned previously, we're like addicts. The addict might know they've got a problem, they might know that they're addicted, but they still go through the addictive behavior, and they just have to deal with it in whatever way they can. So even if you have touched liberation, if you have touched realization, you have some understanding of the truth, the chances are you're still going to be in the grip of some very deep habitual tendencies, some very deep addictions. How foolish are people? Such people are overcome by desire for sense gratification, but even they can cultivate a desire for liberation by study of this scripture. So rather than wallow in self-flagellation and judgment, just be patient and get on with it. Chip away at things gradually. Have faith in your own rational inquiry. The assembly dispersed. This is the end of the 17th day.